All right, everyone, and welcome to the tools for 2016 and up. Basically, the tools is the only thing that changes. The actual modeling is always the same. Doesn't matter the version. It doesn't matter the 3D software. Actually, all the top 3D software like 3D Max, Softimage, Lightwave, and Maya, they all do it the same way. In reality, I've used them all quite a bit actually, so I can tell you so. So let me show you a couple of the tools. I'm making a box right here. You basically will use mesh, edit mesh, mesh tool, and mesh display. Alright. In the mesh itself, you have the boolean. Remember, we're not going to use that in the class, but I'll show you quickly. You can select one element. Let me put that one inside. Select one element and right here, and the second one here, and create a boolean operand. You can make a difference, for example, so you'll make a hole. Be careful, it crashes quite a bit. You can do unions or intersections. All right. You can combine objects. Two objects like that can be combined in one. All right. You might want to replace the pivot points by going to modify right here and center pivot points right there. Okay. In the mesh menu, the next one, you can also separate it right there. All right. That works pretty well. And then after that, we have more menus. The next menu right here is the remesh one. You can conform, fill all, reduce, or smooth. The conform tool is interesting. It lets you conform object to other objects, and that could be useful if you're going to want to do some type of armors or something like that. So you need to have a live object. A live object you create it by selecting the object and basically snapping it right here with the live tool. Then you select the object and it'll snap to that live. The pivot points will basically snap to that live object right there. Okay. Then at that point you can go to the mesh tool right here and say conform. And bing, it'll conform itself perfectly to that. All right. So that's a decent tool if you want to do, because then after that you could extrude that basically. You know, and create some type of armor or something like that. All right, and that you know, or whatever you need to do. Okay, so that's a pretty cool tool. Now after that you have the fill a hole. Well, very simple. Let me move that away though. Let me undo the live. Fill a hole. Right click. Select face for example, and you have a hole. That's it. So what you do is you right click, you go to edge, double click on the edge to have the four edges, at least two selected, and in the mesh you just go to fill hole. Alright, reduce is just to reduce the amount of faces, alright, on an object. Smooth is to increase the amount of faces on an object. So if you like select that and you go to smooth, see it'll smooth it. You can change the division to 2 for example. I'll make it even more, or 3. You want to be careful because really fast it brings the high poly count, alright. And I want you to be let's say you know, keep it as low as you can for now, alright. Let me go back to 1. Actually, let me undo that. And that the reducing will do the inverse of what we just did. After that, you have the triangulate. It triangulates your mesh. You know that. This is what we use to finalize our mesh to be ready for engine. You have the same thing with quadrangulate right here. Okay. You can mirror cuts, mirror geometry. I never use these. I do that manually. If I want to mirror something, I'll do it manually by doing for example, duplicate with spatial and put in the proper axis a minus. So if I want to do an X mirroring, I'll put in the first one, that's X, Y, Z. Alright, so I'll put right here -1 in the X and apply that, and now you see that they gave me an actual other box that was reversed. Okay, now after that we have quadrangulate. No, sorry, we didn't do that. Symmetrize. Clipboard action, forget that for now. Transfer attribute, forget that for now. We don't need it. Clean up, yes, right there. Alright, that basically lets you clean up your non-manifold object. The only thing I want you to select, alright, is right here in the remove geometry, the non-manifold geometry. You do that when you clean up your object. Remember, I showed you that last class. Alright, so that's pretty much for that for the mesh. Edit mesh has all the classic, where you can add division to an object, or to just a face. You can just select a face and add division to it. All right. Be careful though, because now you have in edges 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is no good. It's illegal, so don't do that. You should have to cut right here. Now after that you have the bevel. If you select your object and you go to edit mesh bevel, it will create a bevel, and it should right there. You can control the bevel big time. See, as much as you want, the amount of segment also. All right, which gives you a smoother mesh, and that could be usable in certain type of mesh, even on humans if they need buckles and so forth. All right, you can bridge stuff, and that's pretty cool too. You can bridge things together. You can collapse your mesh if you need to. You can connect them, detach them. But those are cool. But we're gonna be using mainly the extrude and merge to center. Also, we can use that. So the extrude, you know it as usual, that's nothing new. Merge to center, you know it too, there's nothing new, I've showed you that. Chamfer is pretty cool, it can be useful from time to time for armors also. Right click, select a vertex and go to the chamfer. Right here, up, that gives you that, and that's not a bad tool. Okay, and what else do we have? Yes, remember, you do not delete by clicking on deleting on your keyboard. You delete edges and vertices by selecting them and then clicking right here. Alright. You can duplicate faces, you can extract them. Nothing special, I saw that do that before. You can poke them, everything is the same as other softwares. Now in the mesh tool, this is where you're gonna find your insert edge loop. Alright? Meaning if you want to create an edge loop, you go right here in your insert edge loop and you select on the horizontal to get vertical and vertical to get horizontal. I don't get deeper than that. You can adjust that. There's a couple options. You might want to look into it. Alright. You can make a hole. You can multi-cut. That's bad. We're going to use that more often. Multi-cut lets you go from 1, 2, for example, 3, and then you click on enter and you get your stuff. Or even better, you can cut through the whole thing by just getting outside once and outside right there, and it acts just like a butter knife. It'll go through the whole thing. Alright, or you can select just one face and use the same butter knife effect. It's right here to right there, and click on enter and it'll cut only that face. This is a very useful tool, and this is really the main tool that shows you how to do finalize your mesh properly, that is been moved to different places from 2016. All right, so that's pretty much what you want right here. You have the sculpting tool right there that can sculpt stuff, but you need really big mesh, or that doesn't work at all. I'm talking very big in amount of faces. All right. So that's not gonna work very much right here. Let me see. But it's very useful. Let me put some mesh into it. So we can, but it's very useful. It lets you do a lot of stuff. If you have stuff that are not clean, for example, let's say, little poking. Some places, something like that, you don't want to keep, you can't get rid of it. Go to the mesh tool, sculpting tool, select the smooth one, and start smoothing it right here. Up, you see it's gone. So that works very well if you have a seam in the middle or something like that. This is a good one. Then also you have they have sculpt tool. That's just too big, so hold on. Let me double click right here. It's the brush is just way too big. See, even that's too big. On my mesh, it's small, that's why. And then you could up, but see the strength was 15, and you gotta go small numbers with that thing. Right here, for example. There you go. So you can sculpt stuff really quickly. Alright, and as much as you want. It's pretty cool. It works very well. And the options is a lot of stuff. If you have a pen, that's even better. And then, yeah, there's relaxing, grabbing, pinching. I mean, you get lots of stuff. Alright, really, really a lot of stuff. Let's look at the options right here. Yeah, you have fall off. You can put a stamp even right here, so you can use a stamp, and you can import or pick a stamp. And Maya has a bunch of them, and they're just black and white pictures in reality that you can redo. I'm not sure Maya is not gonna crash on me on that one. Come on, come on. Stamps is just basically a pattern that there you go. It's in the visor, a pattern that you choose that can be used as a brush basically. So let's do. Let me see that another thing you got. Let me see what we got here. Let me take that one. That should be fun. Apply stamp. Yeah, do sculpting tool, and then we do that to sculpt. We can apply it to whatever you want basically. And now you can close that up and see, it'll do it with the stamp, and that's very useful. You can do a lot of stuff, scars, tissues. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, leather. There's a lot of stuff that can be used. I would really advise you to use that tool, and just increase the mesh. You can just simply select the mesh right here and say, hey, I'll do it on one face, and then you triangulate at the end, and you just smooth it, for example. Alright, that face, more than that, but you would, let me see. Yeah, you just use it smooth. It's not gonna work with the square that well. I will have to subdivide it too much. It was better with the sphere, and you just smooth it more basically, and then you just redo what you need to do at that place. And then when you triangulate it anyway, you'll clean up the non-manifold object. So that's pretty much it for Maya. Beside, also in the mesh display, you will be using the soften edges to make it look smoother, or to make it look a lot smoother. Alright, and I showed you that before in the previous class. Let me put, let's say, 6. So you got something that's not very smooth. Let me duplicate it, Shift D, and then we can go into the mesh display and soften the edges, and it will look smoother. Alright. That's pretty much it for the Maya 2016 extra tools. Please watch it and use them, especially the brush, the sculpt tool. Thank you.